This is Mark Bell from supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, answering more questions for the Power Project. Do me a favor and go on thepowermagazine.com and subscribe to Power Magazine. I'm started getting a lot of questions that are answered in Power Magazine. We have an article from a raw lifter of some sort, a top-level raw lifter, a top-level single-ply lifter, and a top-level multi-ply lifter, nearly every single issue. So a lot of your questions can be answered there in Power Magazine. Again, the website is thepowermagazine.com. Subscribe there, get your questions answered. I'll also try to continue to answer the questions here the best I can. Got a question here from Brian Kuntz, a double dipper. This is another question that he sent into the Power Project. He's having trouble locking out his pulls. He said that his shoulders feel rounded forward. One thing that you're going to want to try to do with your shoulders getting forward like that is to try to arch your mid back, your low back, and try to pull those shoulders back a little bit before you start your pull. Also, a lot of times the problem is initiated. A lot of times the problem with the lockout is the problem from the beginning. Where you start is often where you finish. So you're going to have to work on that. You're going to have to take some video, get some side video, make sure that you're pulling a lot of your weight back behind the barbell. Watch some of the deadlift videos I've posted lately, and some of that stuff should help you. If you watch a video of myself and Jesse Burdick, Max Aida, and Kelly Starrett doing some deadlifts, you're going to see a lot of different types of deadlifts from all four of us, but the principles are the same by each guy trying to get their shoulders back behind the barbell. Burdick pulls a pretty heavy weight of 635 or 645 for a set of 4 reps, and he gets rounded over quite a bit, but he's still pulling his chest up as he's going through the lift, and he still does a great job locking them all out. So you mentioned here that you're wondering if you should point your toes out and get your hands out wider. Definitely, absolutely. Try some different things. If what you're doing is not currently working, then it ain't currently working. If you don't see any change, then there is no change. You said the same thing happens when you pull sumo. Ultra-wide sumo deadlifts may be a good exercise to help you overcome some of this, but I'm going to guarantee that your main problem is just your starting position. Your starting position is probably shitty, probably having a hard time getting yourself tight. Try some deficit pulls with and without a belt in your warm-ups, and try to learn that tightness. A deficit pull is a great way to try to learn that tightness. If you're not at a real, it doesn't really say how big you are here, but if you're not a real big guy, if you're a smaller guy, you're not going to be able to feel the same tightness as some of these bigger guys can feel, or some of these more experienced lifters should feel. Get yourself on a 3 to 4 inch deficit, and you're going to feel that tightness that the bigger guys feel through the hamstrings and through the legs and through the arms before they get pulling. Remember, a deadlift is not, you don't want to go from 0 to 100. You want to go from about 40 to 100. You want to get your RPMs up. You want to rev up. You want to get some tightness. You want to deliver a blow to that barbell before you ever try to explode into it. So that's something that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to pull yourself down and into the barbell. Watch Mike Teixeira. Mike Teixeira, in my opinion, has the best form out of any conventional deadlifter in the world right now, and Brad Gillingham as well. Brad's a little bit hard to follow just because he's such a mutant. He's so huge, but his form is outstanding as well. Watch some of those guys. Even watch Konstantin Konstantinov. He does the cannonball deadlift where he's a little bit more rounded over. He gets kind of rounded over quite a bit when he gets the heavier weights. But watch when he's got 80, 85% on there, 90%. His back is still getting pretty straight, especially that low back. Your upper back can be rounded slightly, but it can sometimes make the lockout tougher, especially if you don't have long arms. If you have short arms, it's going to be a little bit of a battle to try to lock those weights out. Other things that can help your lockout: deadlifting against bands, deadlifting against chains, any sort of a combination of resistance, making the weights heavier at the top and lighter at the bottom. All that stuff can help. Dimmel deadlifts can help. Look those up if you don't know what they are. Stiff leg deadlifts can help. It's just going to help build up the hamstring. So if you get forward and get over the barbell, you're going to be able to pull yourself out of it because you're working in those shitty positions by utilizing a stiff leg deadlift. Good mornings can be useful, as well as pin pulls, deadlifting off of an elevated surface, so you're doing a partial range of motion. But some ultra-wide sumo deadlifts would probably benefit you the most. I would use those in place of, or instead of, or slightly after your dynamic effort pulls. Speaking of dynamic effort pulls, try some dynamic effort pulls using 2 to 3 reps and getting into the 70 to 80% range. Forget about 50%. It's not going to be enough to overload. You need to lift like shit a little bit to break through your plateaus. That's a technique that I've coined. Lifting like shit will actually help you and not hurt you. You have to be careful. You don't want to push it too far and push it too hard when you're lifted with your back rounded over. But if you get yourself through those crappy positions with submaximal weights, you will get stronger. What doesn't kill you will make you more strong. Imagine that. I think I answered all your shit here. Again, it's that starting position is awful, and we need to work on that. You need to work on it, work on it, work on it, work on it, work on it. In fact, I would even work on it every single time you step into the gym. Forget about once a week, forget about twice a week. How about 4 or 5 times a week? Let's work on perfecting that form, even if it's just with 135 pounds. Because you got a lot of work to do, Brian Kunst. And that is it from supertraining.tv. I'm out.